Special education teacher Jaime Lozano struggles to keep the attention of his elementary school students on a good day. Lozano tells USA Today in February 2021 that, as the nation pivoted to online learning, his efforts to keep his students engaged were no match for poor internet connections. Lozano and his students are not alone in this. Psychologist Lloyd Morissette calls this national predicament the digital divide, and while its effects were highlighted during the midst of the pandemic, this nationwide crisis has existed for far longer. A May 2019 Pew Research Center report finds that before the pandemic hit America, 44% of low-income households were completely offline. Pew Research also reports in September 2020 that 40% of all households, regardless of income, do not have access to a stable internet connection. Given how vital the internet is in our day-to-day lives, it's time we talk about municipally owned internet. Essentially, we should place our internet provision responsibilities into the hands of local governments to start mitigating the digital divide. So let's explore the causes, effects, and solutions to growing internet inaccessibility, or what the United Nations considers a matter of life and death. Carrie Fugit explains in her 2020 Vox blog how her lack of internet access from her rural home has hindered her ability to perform her job as a blogger. In fact, her 2020 blog was literally written from the parking lot of a Taco Bell. Her story introduces us to the causes of the digital divide. First, the internet is not reliably accessible, and second, internet companies employ biased decisions when providing service. But first, the internet is not accessible. The average US internet consumer pays around $60 per month for internet access, reports broadband specialist David Anders in March 2021. And when you can't afford to set aside $60 for internet, you either become dependent on public internet sources like libraries, coffee shops, or Taco Bells, or live without internet at all. The digital divide is further exacerbated by the lack of reliable internet connection in rural communities. The Federal Communications Commission reports in 2018 that 1/4 of rural Americans do not have broadband access. Internet inaccessibility in both low-income and rural communities is only contributing to the consequences of the digital divide. Second, internet company bias. The National Digital Inclusion Alliance finds in 2018 that internet companies deliberately choose what areas they provide service to, and more importantly, what areas they exclude. According to the Institute for Emerging Issues in August 2020, companies are guilty of digital redlining, or intentionally neglecting to provide internet services to low-income and minority communities. The most widespread case of digital redlining exists in Detroit, where, according to The Hill in May 2021, over 40% of citizens are completely offline due to this corrupt practice. Internet inaccessibility and internet company bias are only expanding the detrimental effects of the digital divide, which will continue to cause harm during and likely after the coronavirus. Jay Shah and Santosh Nori tell Business Insider in February 2021 that they are noticing a surge in their Philadelphia-based mobile healthcare clinic for low-income and homeless communities. As prescription refills and COVID vaccinations become increasingly hard to access without internet, Shah and Nori are noticing the major disparities between those who can afford internet and those who can't. Their experience brings us to the effects of the digital divide. First, diminished access to vital resources, and second, the stifling of remote work. But first, diminished access to resources. As seen through Shah and Nori's experience, the digital divide is impeding Americans' access to vital resources. A 2021 Washington Post article examines how a lack of internet prevents people from booking online COVID vaccination appointments. Those who do not have internet are forced to call state hotlines and wait for hours on hold to book what little vaccination appointments remain after online bookings have been made. Additionally, the digital divide is even making banking a struggle for those without internet. According to Forbes in January of 2021, by next year, 200 million Americans will be banking online. As vital resources transition to digital platforms, communities left without internet access are also left without access to the things they need to survive in the 21st century. Second, the stifling of remote work. As jobs continue to migrate towards remote platforms, the digital divide has greatly impacted the workforce. Stanford economist Nicholas Bloom predicts that, in the next few years, we will see a surge in working from home. In fact, according to Business Insider of May 2021, companies like Reddit, Spotify, Twitter, Microsoft, and even Google have announced that they are transitioning to hybrid work models. Basically, they're allowing their employees to work up to full-time from home. The post-COVID workforce will reinstate internet accessibility as a pillar of our economy, heightening the damage of both internet company bias and digital redlining. In 2010, the State Policy Network reported on how Lake County, Minnesota, attempted to narrow the digital divide by constructing their own citywide internet service. Unfortunately, their efforts failed, and the city lost millions of dollars. However, if Lake County had access to the resources provided by Chattanooga, Tennessee, their experience would have been far different. This brings us to our solutions for combating the digital divide. First, placing our internet responsibilities into the hands of local governments, and second, presenting legislation to ban digital redlining. The city of Chattanooga placed their internet responsibilities into the hands of their publicly funded Electric Power Board, or EPB. I corresponded with Ed Marston, a member of the Chattanooga EPB, who provided me with information on their fiber optic network. He said that deploying a municipally owned fiber optic network has allowed the city to use taxpayer money to support free internet services for low-income and rural populations. But how do we achieve what Chattanooga did? Well, Chattanooga has launched a website that works to reduce risk for communities who undertake this effort to combat the digital divide, including the best ways to avoid lawsuits from independent internet companies. Take the link I will provide in the description after this video to your mayor and urge them to set up a consultation with the EPB so they can see for themselves how feasible deploying a fiber optic network is, especially with President Biden's new infrastructure plan aimed at supporting publicly funded internet. By utilizing Chattanooga's resources, cities and small towns alike can better serve their communities and bridge the digital divide. Our second solution must occur on a federal level. In order to combat internet company bias, we need to present legislation to the government to ban digital redlining. I have drafted a petition urging the Federal Communications Commission to do so, to which I will provide another QR code to in the description after this video. I'm asking you all to read it, sign it, and share it. At the end of this speech season, I will send the results of this petition to the FCC. This is something that we, as a speech community, can do to better our own competition platform and garner attention around this detrimental issue. So, I need the help of all of you to push this petition into reality. After exploring the causes, effects, and potential solutions to the digital divide, hopefully we all understand how integral municipally owned internet is to our nation. Because internet access is no longer a luxury. It's a basic human right.